How's it going, everyone? It's Spencer here with Spencer's Stuff. Welcome to the community. I appreciate you being here. First off, I have to say congratulations. If you're watching this video, you probably bought the Onkyo TX-RZ70 or you're in the process of buying it, and I can tell you now you're getting a great product. So in this video, I'm just going to run through the most basic settings for you, and hopefully this will give you a foundational start with your Onkyo TX-RZ70. Thank you all for watching. So in order to get to the menu for the RZ70 and get into the settings, I actually have to most of the time switch to my eARC setting. So for me, it's HDMI 3 eARC ARC on the Bravia 9, and I'm going to tap into that. And then for me, I have to hit the little gear icon in the corner here, and that will allow me to get into the settings here. So now you can see the menu is all set up on the Bravia 9 and on the RZ70, so now I can run through and show you all the settings that you need to do at the most basic level. So to start off with the input and output assign, TV out OSD, I always have it at HDMI out main. I always turn upscaling off personally. That's just a personal preference. You can mess with that. This is the most important setting if you're a gamer. HDMI 4K, 8K signal format, hit next, and you need to turn everything to 8K enhanced. This will allow you to do 4K 120, 4K ALLM, VRR, all the settings for gaming. And you won't have any issues if you're trying to run at 8K. Going back now, Zone 2 HDMI, I don't have this in use. My OSD language is obviously English. I impose the OSD, that's on, I don't really know what it means. Mini player OSD, I just leave it as always on, and I turn the screensaver off. Personally, I have a Bravia 9, so I don't have to worry about burning as much. If you're someone who has an OLED, the screensaver might be an option for you, and you might want to turn that on just in case it stays on the same screen for too long. HDMI input, I leave these all at HDCP 2.3. Video input, this really doesn't matter. I don't really need to go through it. Digital audio input, same thing. Analog input, I just left it all the same. Setting 2, speakers. This is where you set up the configuration for your speakers, and this is the most important aspect of the AVR when you actually go to setup. So for me, I have a 7.1.4 system with 2 subwoofers, and you can set the heights, where they belong, where they're at. You can set if you have zone speakers, zone 1 or 2. Speaker impedance, I always recommend this one you stay on 6 ohms or above. There's an option for 4 ohms, do not do it, just leave it at 6 ohms or above. Crossover, this is something that I usually just leave at 80 hertz, and I set my speakers to small, but it's up to you what you want to do. I have a THX system, so it's recommended to leave it at 80 hertz. This is the settings though that you would want to go into to kind of mess with. And I mean, that's really about it when it comes to those. Once I get into a DIRAC video, I'll kind of go into them a bit more. Distance, now you can see mine are in milliseconds. Yours are going to be an actual distance, so a length of measurement. So if you wanted to go in and use a tape measure to measure the distance between your speakers to your listening position, you can do that. For me, because I ran DIRAC already, this is showing my milliseconds of delay, essentially, or how long it'll take for the speaker to activate, or if there is any delay, so that the audio will hit my ear at the correct time, essentially. And then you have the level calibration setting, which in this, it'll just play white noise based off the channel. Yep, that's pretty much it. THX audio. Basically for this one, you basically just measure out how far away your back speakers are from each other, and then you can choose how much space there needs to be so that it does the correct spatial audio. THX Ultra or Select Sub, I do not have either of these, so I leave it off. And Loudness Plus, I always recommend turning off. This is something that just basically is a dynamic compressor, and it kind of just messes with the sound setting, makes it a little bit more inaccurate. The dynamics kind of get crunched, and I just don't recommend it. I will say though, if you are someone who listens in a quieter room or at night, this could be a really good option for you. It'll kind of bring up the detail a little bit for you. EQ for standing wave, I'll be completely honest with you, I have not used this, but I'm sure you can actually set it up and make your EQ specifically based off of the frequency level, which is awesome. Speaker virtualizer, I have this turned off as well. There's no reason to make a fake speaker in my opinion. Speaker combo, I have clip speakers and then my RP1600 SW. My clip speakers are not in this. If you have a different brand, just leave this on other. Now going into audio adjust, multiplex mono, I leave this on main, left and right, and then center. Dolby, I do not turn loudness management on. This is one of those things again where you don't want dynamic equalization going on. You want to leave the source as pure as possible. I can understand if it's, you know, a nighttime or something along those lines where you're trying to be quieter, maybe loudness management will be better for you. So maybe you can try turning this on if you're trying to be maybe in an apartment or something. You can bring on the dynamics a little bit. DTS and IMAX, I have this on, the auto surround is turned on. IMAX mode is set to auto. IMAX user setting is auto, and that's everything else is blanked out for me. LFE level, I leave it 0 dB. Volume, this is another very important thing because later on you're going to want to set your speakers to reference, which I'll get into the video when I talk about DIRAC. The volume display you want to be relative. If you set it to absolute, you're going to have issues where it's just going to count from 1 to a certain number. I think it's 1 to, I don't even know. It might be like 60 or something. I don't know what the actual number is. But you want to set it to relative because basically what this is going to allow you to do is do everything based off of a decibel reading. So it'll show, for me, I always have the power on volume at negative 30 dB as my startup. And then from there I can do plus or minus, I would say about 10 dB based off of what I'm watching, whether it be music, movies, whatever else. But I feel negative 30 dB is the most comfortable. And then headphone level, I just leave it 0 dB because I'm not running any headphones through this. Oro 3D. This one I kind of did mess with, it's fun. I mean, I wouldn't use it over any of the other surround options personally, but if you do want to mess with this, it's kind of fun. And honestly, I don't have a recommended setting. This is going to be based off of your room and what you find to be the most enjoyable. So this is one I actually recommend jumping in and trying it out and seeing what you like, because you might end up really liking the Oro 3D option. Now going into source, input volume, you can set it based off of the HDMI where it starts at. I normally, like I said, start at negative 30 dB. You can set it for every input. There's a name edit option right here as well, so you can change the name of the HDMI source. And then audio select, I recommend you leave PCM fixed mode off. Now going into hardware, HDMI. HDMI CEC I have turned on. Standby through I have on auto. eARC on. And lip sync, this is another one of those things. You can try it if you want. I don't really use it. I typically try and mess with the lip syncing myself and get it matched up as quick as possible. From my personal experience, I try and cut down on the amount of processing the receiver has to do. So if it's trying to do dynamic lip syncing, especially in games and other things, it kind of adds to the input lag, I think. I could be just talking out of my butt right there, but I just leave it off. Network, obviously, setting your network up in there. Bluetooth, same thing. You can choose if you want to have it as a Bluetooth receiver or a Bluetooth transmitter. So you can connect directly to the receiver to transmit Bluetooth, or if you wanted to listen through a pair of headphones, you can connect the Onkyo receiver directly to a pair of headphones. And I believe you can get aptX and aptX HD support through this option. Power management, I had the sleep timer turned off, auto standby off, USB power off, standby, network on, off. I don't want anyone connecting to my receiver at night accidentally or having a neighbor that's going to Bluetooth wake up my receiver. So I leave a lot of this stuff off because I just want it for my personal comfort. Now a 12-volt trigger, if you don't know, this is for external amplifiers, and there's an option on the back that plugs in to a separate source so that your amplifiers will turn on with your receiver. If you have external amplification, you want to set this to main. If you don't have any external amplification, it doesn't matter. And then there's a works with Sonos option. So if you wanted to run a Sonos system, you can. Multizone, I don't really mess with this because I only have my main zone. You can kind of mess with this as much as you'd like to though. And then miscellaneous, your tuner. This is for your radio. Remote ID, this is for your remote. Preamp mode, now this is something that the RZ50 did not have. I wanted to set the preamp mode to all on this one because I am running external amplification. If you set it to no, it just leaves the receiver amplifiers on. If you set it to front, you can basically just set which amplifiers you want to shut off. So it's pretty nice having this option. I just leave it on preamp mode all because I'm running all of my speakers over a external amplification. Firmware update. If you need to do it, here it is. It looks like I have an update, so I'm going to do that in a minute. Your initial setup here will allow you to set up your system completely. If you go into lock, you can lock the settings on your receiver, and basically this, I would recommend using this if you've had someone professionally calibrate your system and you're not planning on changing it. This will allow no one to change it, including kids, any family members who might not know what they're doing or trying to mess with your settings. You can lock it, which is a good option. and then there's the factory reset option. I hope this video helped you out. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to help you out and hopefully answer any questions you might have. And in future videos at some point, I will do a DIRAC setup. I really promise you I will. It's just gonna take some time. It really is a tedious process. But once again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, great evening, whatever it might be in your area, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you all so much. See you later.